We're sitting in the courtyard at Keim Hall, which is adjacent to Plant Science Hall on the east campus of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. This area has a really rich history of being just basically boring and turf to when it was initially installed with a great water display and a lot of plant material to where we are now, where it's a mature landscape with lots of trees and lots of maintenance that's required and a lot of species that we can't see. This is definitely a living laboratory that we use for a lot of our horticultural and turfgrass science classes. But it's gotten to the point now where we've increased the shade and it's a little bit of a hostile environment to begin with. So it's time to renovate the turfgrass area that I'm standing on. But the question is, do we go with what we initially started with, which lent itself to the more open, not full sun, but some shade? We originally had turf-type tall fescue in here. We sodded it with the well-known RTF variety, right? So that was a great idea at its time. But as this area has matured, we have an option to maybe think about another turfgrass species. So this is going to be the first in a series of videos where we're going to show you how we renovate it. But let's start with doing your homework before you get on the ground and start digging things up, right? So let's think about what we want here. Now we know turf-type tall fescue grew here, but it's a lot shadier. We know we can't grow buffalo grass or definitely not Bermuda grass. Kentucky bluegrass also isn't very shade tolerant. So do we have an option to try the true fine leaf fescues? Creeping red fescue, sheep fescue, hard fescue. These are all fescues, but not turf-type tall fescue, and they're very thin, bladed. They can spread a little bit depending upon which species you choose. And that may be the direction we end up going, but we still haven't fully thought about that. The other option is we certainly could put in maybe a shade-tolerant wildflower mix, but then we have to think about the use patterns of this area, right? Students come in here, they like to sit. We've got internet access in here, they can get on the wireless. Also, when we show it, we have a walk around and there needs to be a central gathering place. So I think we're going to stick with turf, and we're probably going to go with a turf-type fine fescue like we just described. So stay tuned. I think you're going to see some amazing things happen when we get ready for that planting weather for the cool season grasses in the fall. I think you're going to learn some great tips for establishing not only fine fescue, but also any other cool season grass you'll be thinking about doing to renovate these lost spaces.